Welcome to my YouTube channel. Please subscribe it and press the bell icon. When we talk about believing in yourself, the very first step is recognizing your own value before the world ever does. Too many people spend their lives waiting for someone else to notice them, to validate them, to clap for them before they feel worthy. But here's the truth. If you wait for the world to see you, you may never step into the life you were created for. The world's recognition is inconsistent. Some days it celebrates you, and other days it forgets you. But your value is not tied to applause or acknowledgement. It's already inside of you. You were born with it. And the art of believing in yourself begins when you finally decide that you don't need permission to shine. Think about it. Every person who ever achieved something remarkable had to believe before anyone else did. They had to look at themselves, often with nothing in their hands, no resources, no support, and still whisper, "I am enough." Because if you don't see your own worth, nobody else will carry that responsibility for you. People can encourage you, yes, but they cannot live inside your skin. They cannot feed the belief that must rise from within you. That is your job. And when you truly recognize your inner value, it becomes like a foundation under your feet, solid, steady, and unshakable, no matter what storms may come. This doesn't mean arrogance or pride. It means humility with clarity. It's not saying, "I'm better than others." It's saying, "I am valuable. I am capable. I was designed with purpose." When that awareness becomes real to you, it changes the way you walk, the way you talk, and the way you handle challenges. Suddenly, a closed door doesn't crush you because you know your value isn't reduced by someone else's rejection. You understand that a delay doesn't mean denial. It simply means the right opportunity hasn't opened yet. Believing in yourself at this level is like planting a seed deep in the soil. You don't see it growing right away, and no one else may even notice it's there, but you trust that something powerful is taking root beneath the surface. And in time, it will break through the ground for the world to see. That's how your value works. It's not always visible in the early stages, but when you carry it with confidence and faith, eventually it shows. The real danger comes when you tie your worth to the shifting opinions of others. If people celebrate you today, you feel high. If they criticize you tomorrow, you feel low. That is no way to live. You need an anchor that's deeper than people's moods. You need to know who you are before you walk into the room, before you step onto the stage, before you even open your mouth. That way, whether you are praised or ignored, you still stand firm. So, believing in yourself begins with this. Recognize your inner value before anyone else does, because the world will never fully see in you what you must first see in yourself. All of us carry two voices inside of us. One voice is loud, critical, and quick to remind us of everything we are not. It says, "You're not good enough, not smart enough, not worthy enough." It echoes every failure and magnifies every weakness. Then there is another voice, softer at first, but steady. It says, "You are capable, you are chosen, you have what it takes." Believing in yourself is really about deciding which voice you will amplify. The critic will always be there, but you don't have to hand it the microphone. You get to choose whether you feed it or silence it, whether you allow it to dominate or you let the voice of truth and courage rise louder. It's interesting how easily we give power to the inner critic. One mistake, one setback, one rejection, and suddenly that voice screams, "See, you'll never make it." But what if you pause and ask yourself, is this really true? Or is this fear pretending to be fact? You'll notice that most of what the critic says is not truth at all. It's insecurity dressed up like wisdom. It's fear trying to protect you from failure, but in reality, it's only trapping you from growth. And here's the art: you can't shut that voice off entirely, but you can drown it out by turning up the volume of the inner coach. The inner coach is the voice of faith, the voice of courage, the voice that reminds you of your victories, not your failures. It speaks a possibility where the critic only sees limitation. And the more you practice listening to that voice, the more it strengthens. Just like a muscle, belief grows with repetition. Every time you choose to say, I can handle this, I was made for this, I'm not backing down, you are feeding the inner coach. And slowly the critic begins to lose its power. This doesn't mean you ignore your flaws. The critic thrives on pointing them out, but the coach knows how to use them as fuel. The critic says, look at your weakness. The coach says, yes, but look how far you've come despite it. The critic says, you're not ready. The coach says, you may not feel ready, but step forward anyway, and readiness will meet you on the way. When you learn to let the second voice lead you, everything changes. Think of it this way: whichever voice you give attention to becomes the architect of your future. If you keep feeding the critic, you'll always shrink back, always doubt, always stop short. But if you keep feeding the coach, you'll rise, you'll stretch, you'll step into opportunities you never thought you could handle. Belief in yourself is not about denying the existence of fear or doubt. It's about refusing to let them drive. So when the critic speaks, don't hand it the final word. Let the inner coach rise up. Let the voice of courage take the microphone, and let it remind you that you were created to do far more than your fears will ever allow. Every one of us has faced moments where things didn't go the way we planned. A door closed, a dream collapsed, an effort ended in disappointment. And it's in those moments that the temptation to give up is strongest. The voice of defeat whispers, see, this proves you can't do it. This proves you are not enough. But the truth is, failure is not the end of the story, it's only a chapter. What looks like a setback is often just a setup for something greater. The art of believing in yourself is learning to see those moments not as final, but as forming. Think about it. Every strong building needs a solid foundation, and foundations are built by pressure, by digging deep, by enduring. In the same way, your setbacks are shaping something inside you that success alone never could. Success teaches you confidence, but failure teaches you resilience. Success makes you smile, but failure makes you strong. Success gives you rewards, but failure gives you wisdom. And it's wisdom and strength that carry you further than any quick win ever could. Too often, we treat mistakes and losses as evidence against us, when in reality, they are evidence of growth. If you never stumbled, you never learn how to stand taller. If you never failed, you'd never discover what's truly inside you. Believing in yourself means refusing to let the pain of a setback define you. It means asking, what is this teaching me? How is this preparing me? Instead of, why did this happen to me? That simple shift in perspective turns every disappointment into a building block. History is full of people who understood this principle. The ones who fell again and again but kept rising are the ones who left their mark. They didn't avoid failure. They used it. Every rejection letter became fuel. Every closed door became direction. Every mistake became a lesson that sharpen them. They learn that failure is not a verdict, it's a teacher. And when you start to see your own setbacks through that lens, you stop fearing them. Instead, you welcome the growth they bring. It doesn't mean it's easy. Nobody enjoys falling short. Nobody celebrates disappointment in the moment. But believing in yourself is knowing that even in your lowest point, value is being built inside you. The same way a diamond is formed under pressure, your character is refined under struggle. And once that character is formed, it gives you the strength to carry the weight of the victories that are coming. Because here's the reality, if you can't handle setbacks, you won't be ready for success. Success is heavy, and setbacks are the gym that prepare you to lift it. So the next time you face failure, don't see it as a wall. See it as a stone being added to your foundation. Don't let it convince you you're finished. Let it remind you that you're still being built. Because believing in yourself means knowing that every setback is not a sign of defeat. It is a signal that your story is still unfolding. One of the most overlooked parts of believing in yourself is the people you choose to walk with. No matter how strong you are, no matter how determined you feel, the voices around you will eventually start to echo inside you. If you spend too much time with people who constantly doubt, criticize, or limit, their words will slowly chip away at your confidence. On the other hand, if you surround yourself with those who believe, encourage, and remind you of your potential, their faith will feed yours. The company you keep can either build your belief or bury it. It's not about cutting everyone off or living in isolation. It's about being intentional. Look at the closest voices in your life. Do they lift you or drain you? Do they remind you of your worth or do they make you question it? Sometimes the reason people struggle to believe in themselves isn't because they don't have the strength, but because they've been carrying the weight of other people's doubts for too long. And you can't expect to grow strong in faith while standing in an environment that constantly plants fear. Think of a seed. A seed can hold all the potential in the world, but if it's planted in bad soil, it won't flourish. You are the same way. Your belief, your courage, your vision, these things grow best when they are nurtured in the right soil. The soil is your relationships, your friendships, the people you give access to your mind and heart. You need a soil that feeds your growth, not soil that stunts it. This is why encouragement is so powerful. A single word of belief from the right person can push you forward when you feel like quitting. A reminder of who you are from someone who sees your potential can reignite the fire you thought had burned out. Everyone needs someone who looks at them and says, "You can do this. Don't stop now." But to receive those words, you have to choose to be around the kind of people who will speak them. At the same time, this isn't just about receiving, it's about giving too. If we want to strengthen your own belief, be the kind of person who encourages others. When you lift someone else, you strengthen yourself. When you remind someone else of their worth, you remind your own heart of yours. It becomes a cycle of belief where you build and are built at the same time. So guard your circle. Protect your spirit from voices that tear down and lean into the voices that build up. Not everyone is meant to walk every step of the journey with you, and that's okay. Some people are chapters, not lifetimes. Be wise enough to know the difference. Because when you surround yourself with belief builders instead of doubt feeders, you create an environment where your confidence doesn't just survive, it thrives. One of the greatest myths about confidence is that it shows up first. We imagine that the people who step out boldly must have felt ready, must have been full of certainty, must have had every doubt silenced before they began. But the truth is very different. Most of the time, confidence doesn't come before the step. It comes because of the step. It is only when you dare to move forward, even while your knees are shaking, that courage begins to rise within you. Believing in yourself means deciding to act with courage before you feel ready. So many dreams have died in the waiting room of I'll start when I feel confident. People hold back, saying, once I'm fully prepared, once I know everything, once I stop being nervous, then I'll try. But that moment never arrives because waiting doesn't erase fear, it multiplies it. The longer you hesitate, the louder your doubts grow. At some point, you have to step forward while you still feel the weight of uncertainty. It may not be comfortable, but it is necessary. Think about the first time you learned to ride a bicycle. Nobody feels ready on the first try. You wobble, you fall, you get scraped, but you only learn the balance because you risked moving. If you had waited until you felt fully confident, you never would have put your feet on the pedals. Life works the same way. Readiness is not a prerequisite, it's a product. It comes through motion, through daring, through showing up, even when you're trembling. And here's the beauty. Every time you take a step while afraid, something shifts inside you. The fear doesn't disappear overnight, but it loses its grip. You start to realize, I can do harder things, I can handle the unknown, I can survive what scared me. And with each experience, your belief grows stronger. Before long, the very things that once terrified you become the very ground you stand firm on. This is why courage matters so deeply. Courage is not the absence of fear. It's the willingness to move forward in spite of it. Courage is saying, I may not have it all figured out, but I trust that as I move, clarity will come, strength will come, confidence will come. When you live this way, you discover that the act of stepping itself unlocks doors you could never have opened by waiting. So don't sit back waiting for the perfect moment, because there isn't one. Don't let fear disguise itself as wisdom, convincing you to delay until you feel safe. Safety doesn't grow you. Stepping out does. Believing in yourself means having the courage to move before you feel ready, trusting that confidence is waiting for you on the other side of that step. So much of our struggle with belief comes from attaching our worth to circumstances. When life is going well, when opportunities open, when people applaud us, we feel confident. But the moment rejection comes, the moment we overlook, the moment things don't go the way we imagine, suddenly our sense of worth collapses. That's because we tied our identity to something that shifts. Believing in yourself on a deeper level means anchoring your confidence in something that cannot be taken away by failure, criticism, or delay. If your value is built only on what you achieve, then every loss threatens it. If your identity rests only on people's opinions, then every word can shake you. But when you know who you are, when your sense of self is rooted deeper than applause or success, you carry a strength that no setback can steal. You begin to live with the quiet assurance that even if the world doesn't notice you today, your value hasn't changed. Even if the opportunity doesn't come right now, your worth is still intact. That's the kind of belief that sustains you through seasons of waiting, disappointment, and challenge. Think about a tree in the middle of a storm. The branches may bend, the leaves may be stripped, but if the roots are deep, the tree stands. Your identity is your root. It's what holds you steady when life shakes everything else. Without those roots, You will always feel fragile, always tossed around by what happens on the surface. But when you anchor yourself, you discover that the storms don't destroy you. They only reveal how strong your foundation really is. This is why comparison is so destructive. When you look to others to measure your worth, you are uprooting yourself. You start to believe that your value goes up when you are winning more than them, and it goes down when they seem further ahead. But that's not truth. Your worth is not a race. Your identity is not a scoreboard. Believing in yourself means settling once and for all that your life has meaning. Apart from the highs and lows, the victories and losses, and here's the freedom that comes from it. When your worth is anchored, you stop chasing validation. You stop living for the applause of people and start living from a place of security. You can walk into rooms without needing to be the loudest voice. You can face setbacks without falling apart. You can celebrate others without feeling threatened. And you can move toward your purpose with a steady confidence because you know your foundation isn't fragile. So don't let your confidence rest on temporary things. Anchor it deeper. Root it in the unshakable truth of who you are. Because when you do, no rejection, no failure, no delay will ever have the power to strip away your belief in yourself.